Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be reviewing WWE 2K22. Now it's a different format for us. You're not going to see our smiling and beautiful faces. Unfortunately, that includes me. I know Matt's not the greatest to look at as it is, but I'm gorgeous. So anyway, we're here to talk about WWE 2K22 and its many different editions and our thoughts on it. So, right off the bat, I've pretty much gotten every WWE game that's come out since the N64 era with No Mercy, Attitude, WrestleMania 2000. So I followed along with THQ and Ukes, and eventually in their transition into 2K, buying them and buying the rights and starting their own series. So we all know about the debacle with 2K20. And actually, that's what caused a big gap between 2K20 and 2K22. They took a year off and tried to get everything right after all the graphical errors that we had and all the glitching and all the problems, because 2K20 was much worse and incredibly a step down from 2K19, and that's because the original developer stepped down. And if anyone knows anything about when game engines, when you have to start from scratch, you get a lot of problems, and that's what caused a lot of the issues from 2K20. But I can safely say 2K22 is a huge jump from 2K20. It is a massive leap forward. Honestly, as far as some features in this game, it's things that I've wanted for my entire life of playing SmackDown versus Raw, just a SmackDown, just bring it, SmackDown, show your mouth, and SmackDown, here comes your pain. I've wanted some features that are in this game, in those games. I've been waiting since years like 2001 for some of these features. So I can honestly say that I am thrilled to report to everybody that they are in this game and they play great. So right off the bat, I'm just going to say gameplay, amazing. They nailed it. They've revamped the entire gameplay engine. Reversals are finally fluent, and the controller responds well to when you hit the button. Might actually respond a little too well, I'm not gonna lie. It seemed very easy to reverse. I'm assuming, go up in higher difficulties, it's a little harder, but even on that, it felt very easy. But I'm not complaining after, all the years of having to deal with the issues of the reversals not catching when you hit the button. So that was amazing. And as far as the new striking system and combo system, I thought I was going to have a problem with that, but no, I eased into it nicely. Please do the tutorial. I can honestly say that it was very helpful. But they also give you tips no matter what game mode you start in, just on the striking and all the reversal system and the new combo system. So they definitely help you out. I recommend definitely trying that out, because it's very similar to the old system, but much more fluid and responsive. They changed all the controls around. Definitely going to take some getting used to for new players and for old players as well. I would say it's going to take an hour or two, but nothing crazy, nothing that you should have an issue with. But it definitely makes the gameplay much smoother. Before we get into any modes, the gameplay has to be perfect, because you're going to be spending a majority of your time, no matter what the game mode is, playing the matches. And if the matches aren't fun, then you're not going to have a good time. They got most of the match types in there. We obviously don't have like Buried Alive or Inferno again, but that's not a real complaint. That's to be expected. Maybe we'll get that added in future editions, but we got the gameplay right, so that's perfect. I can't say anything bad about the gameplay. You're going to have a lot of fun playing TLC matches, Elimination Chamber matches, Royal Rumbles, and Hell in a Cells, and anything you can imagine, because it's all there, and you're just going to have so much fun playing it. And then we get right into a lot of people's favorite things and wondering when they buy a 2K game is the graphics, because 2K20's graphics were very, very bad. The character models were very awful, looked nothing like their old character models. The Rock is a huge example of an upgrade. I thought Booker T's character model blew my mind. I thought it was one of the nicest looking character models I had ever seen. It looked identical to him. They nailed everything right on each one. I played a match versus Bret Hart, and it looked like WrestleMania 12 Bret Hart with the tan on his skin, because the lighting is so perfect, the sweat on their bodies. It's almost photorealistic. I got into the Rey Mysterio showcase, 2K showcase for him. We were doing the Halloween Havoc 1997 match with Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero was the first thing, and I swear to God, it looked photorealistic. I couldn't believe how nice that this looked. I mean, they have filters in here for different stuff, so which is really cool. So it actually feels like if you're playing back on the 80s, like in the My Rise, there's a little side story where you actually end up going into SummerSlam '88, and they put a film over that too that really like lets you see, like, it feels like you're playing an '80s match, and in this one it feels like it was 1997. That's a nice little graphical touch that is beautiful. It really looked amazing, and all the character models. And finally, they finally got the materials right on the actual wrestling attires or their entrance attires. Finally, you can see leather, you can see cloth, you can actually tell the difference. Like, so now, like, if you're wearing like a cloth jacket and you have a leather like emblem on the back, it pops because the light will reflect off it, right? Like, they added in the materials in previous 2K games, but it never popped. It never was noticeable unless you really went over the top to do it. But now it's finally popping, and and everything works. So if you wanted to, like, I dressed my Creative Superstar in black leather, and I thought it was awesome to see that and have like satin like aesthetics attached to it to make that all pop out and make my character look great. So if people have been waiting for that, it's finally in here. They finally got the materials right. And the hair, still not perfect. I don't think we're ever going to get perfect hair in any kind of Creative Superstar or in just the regular Superstar models. Eventually, I think this is the closest we've gotten. You know, hair is one of the hardest things to do in any game just because of graphical engines. Even like in Pixar movies, they said that getting hair was extremely hard, but they finally nailed it as far as the best they can get. It's only going to get better. This is a graphical showcase, I gotta say. You know, this is what we expected when 2K first signed on based on the NBA 2K series, and they have finally landed the mark. 2 years well spent making sure this graphical engine is as perfect as it can possibly be right now. This is going to give your Series X definitely a run for your money. That's what we did all our testing on. That's where all the footage is from the Xbox Series X. And that actually brings me to some of the game modes. So you have My Rise, Universal, GM, and 2K Showcase. GM mode, I mean, it's finally back, but it's pretty bare bones. It's the start of a new game mode, so it's going to be, you would think it'd be a little more intertwined with how Universe's mode is, but it's not. You're mostly just taking control of a show, and it's like how GM mode used to be. I think it'll take a couple years for that to finally get up to snuff. So if you're going buying this game just for that, I wouldn't recommend it just for that. I think it's going to take some time to finally get there. And then you move on to Universal mode, which is pretty much identical to what it's been, but it gives you the most, you know, control over everything. I'm a big fan of the creation tools, and if you're a fan of creating, you're going to be the one playing Universe mode. So this is for you, Universe mode, but now you can take your Superstar through Universe mode. Any Superstar you want. I was going to do my Created Superstar, so you can play like the storylines in Universe mode, whereas with regular Universe mode, that's what you can control, change all the shows, options, change the arena, change all the banners, all the music, anything you want to do, make whoever you want to be champion. If you want Bret Hart or Diesel or Razor Ramon to be champion, this is the mode for you. But as an individual Superstar, a lot of that stuff is stripped away. So don't expect to be running just one Superstar and still changing the shows. They're two separate modes. And then the 2K Showcase this year is Rey Mysterio, and that is a lot of fun because I like going back through someone's history and playing that. This is one of 2K's best modes. I have so much fun with this. Rey Mysterio is no different. Playing old matches, seeing his old attire is so much fun. If you're a fan of Rey Mysterio, you're going to love this. I'm not the biggest Rey Mysterio fan, but I still am having a ton of fun playing it. Definitely check that one out if you're a fan. And then that brings us to My Rise. This is the My Rise I have been waiting for since 2K actually got the rights to the series. Because the promise was, just like with the NBA 2K series, we were going to have a career mode. And right out of the gate, it turned into a money for play kind of thing, where you had to, if you really wanted your Superstar to actually compete, you had to actually like pay money. You know, microtransactions are a thing, and 2K seemed to always love them. But My Rise is finally fun. We're not doing that brother-sister storyline. I'm actually really enjoying the how it's intertwined with everything, and you can pick male or female. They're separated now, so you got to make a choice at the beginning, and then just play them both if you want. But they're both a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I know Matt's really enjoying it too. It's one of the best modes in the game. They finally got it to where I want it to be. I mean, some people might not like it still. It's still a grind, and that's kind of the point. Unless you buy one of the higher end editions, where they will give you 200 points for your mode to start out, which I did. So, and then that brings us to some negatives I want to point out. So, Create a Superstar is amazing. I have no complaints. They finally did everything. I already talked about the material, so you can definitely make the best created superstar you can finally make, and then you got all the tools there to make him perfect. The masks look real. Kane's masks are unbelievable on your face. I was playing around with that. They finally have all the materials right. But create an entrance is one of my favorite modes, and we've had the advanced creation for a long time in the series, and they pulled it away. There is no advanced creation. It's easy creation only, so you're just picking the entire motions and whatever the lighting and pyro is. So unfortunately that's been taken out. I read that it's because 2K20 that was causing a lot of their glitching problems, so it's to be expected. But still not the greatest thing, and I can't say that I wasn't disappointed, and I have to pass that along to you. That was one disappointment. And then the biggest disappointment of all is probably the price. It's $60 for standard edition, and that does not include next gen. So if you have a Series X or a PS5, you're gonna have to buy one of the bundles, and that starts at $80, and that just is the regular deluxe crossover bundle. But then as you go up, we got the $99 special deluxe edition, which gave us early access to start playing on March 8th, and gave us the Undertaker pack and the 200 points, as well as other editions. And then there's a step up from that that's $20 more to $120, almost double the standard price is the NWO for Life edition, which, you know, if you're playing 2K all year, maybe that's worth it. You know, these last two editions do come with the season pass. The pricing is definitely very high. If this is how it's going to be price-wise for all of next-gen consoles, definitely going to be hurting the pocket. So I can't give that a positive feat. But overall, this game is great. It's a huge step up from 2K's previous, definitely from 2K20. 2K19 was good, and I like 2K18, but this is definitely their best effort. Missing some stuff. There's still some glitches. You know, those aren't going to be fixed overall. Sometimes targeting can be annoying, or Irish whipping somebody where you point them to, it doesn't work out. That's never going to be removed, I think, from a 2K game. I think there's too much going on, too much button mashing for everything to be perfect. But that's not a complaint from me. So overall, I am going to give WWE 2K22 a 8.5 out of 10.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around this long. I just wanted to give you some of my thoughts. I thought this game right off the bat was pretty good. I haven't played a WWE game in many years. I think 13 was the last one I played with CM Punk on the cover, and that was the Stone Cold story. But when I first booted this one up, the graphics right away blew me away. Amazing, photorealistic. If we had this as kids, because I was huge into like the Just Bring It and Here Comes the Pain. Those were some of my favorite games of all time, or Shut Your Mouth, I think was my. There's just endless hours of stuff to do if you like creating your superstar or creating an arena, stuff like that. I actually really enjoy the GM mode. The one negative I have, which isn't really a negative for a wrestling fan, is I don't follow wrestling anymore, so I don't know hardly anyone on the roster. So that was kind of hard for me. I think the $100 version where we got the Legends pack. So obviously I knew everyone on the Legends list. So that was a little bit better. Once I started using those characters, it made me feel more at home. But I really like the package. I think the year off really helped them. If you're even contemplating this game and you're a wrestling fan, I'd say go for it, because you're not going to be disappointed. The controls, John says they're different from the previous years. I did the tutorial. I captured some of the gameplay, so that was me playing in the Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio match at Halloween Havoc. So I'm not great at the game, but the controls aren't terrible. I just think anyone who is an actual wrestling fan and puts time into these games, they will not be disappointed. So those are my thoughts. I mean, the roster thing for me is probably my only negative I have. And we never got the Buried Alive or the Inferno matches that we deserved. That was the one thing I always wanted, was an Inferno match and a Buried Alive match. And apparently we don't have that here. But who knows? This is the era of DLC, so maybe we'll get some of that later down the road. But overall, I would give this game, I guess, an 8.5, 9 out of 10. Just visually, it's stunning. The graphics are incredible. The gameplay works great. Like John said, trying to put the opponent where you really want them could be tough. If you see me struggling in the Eddie Guerrero match, I was trying to put him in the corner or something like that. So, but I think it's just practice. Again, I haven't played one of these games in years, so I think if I played some more, I would get better.
Alright guys, thanks for joining us on another edition of Let's Talk on this game review. If you guys like our game reviews, please like, comment, and share, and make sure you tell all your friends.